A big hello and welcome from Python Code Buddy. This is our first tutorial on Python, and the topic of our tutorial is Python Pandas tutorial, and we will be getting started with Pandas data frame. Pandas, as we all know, is a very cute bear which is originated from south of China. And as you can see in the picture, we have shown you a picture of panda. But in Python, pandas are a basic bedrock or a fundamental library which is used for big data and doing a lot of data analytics project. Here we will cover the workflow for this pandas tutorial. Like first we will see what are pandas and why learn pandas at all. What are the various specific inbuilt advantages of the pandas library. Then we will give you a brief introduction on Google Colab, which is the specific Python cloud-based Python IDE which we will use in this tutorial. Then we will see how to load the pandas library, and we will give you a brief introduction to the data frame, and we will see how to work with the data frame, and then lastly we will show you a sample data frame coding, and lastly we will have a recap. Okay, now what is pandas? Now pandas was created by US McKinney in 2008 as part of the pandas project. Now pandas is an open source Python library used for working with data sets, analyzing big data, and making conclusion based on statistical models. The name pandas has a reference to both panel data and Python data analysis. Now, pandas is the ideal tool for data scientists as it excels in the following, like munging and cleaning the data, then analyzing and modeling the data, and lastly organizing the results of the data analysis into a form suitable for plotting or tabular display. So this in short are the crux of what the pandas are and how they are important from a data scientist toolbox perspectives for Python. Okay, few things which pandas does very well. Firstly, they do very easy handling of missing data. Now, by missing data, we mean like sometimes in a big data set, there are certain data which is not there. Like that missing value is represented as nan. Now that you can say is a null data field, or due to some mistake in data gathering, that data was not there. So you have a provision of representing that as NaN. Then there is size mutability, that is columns can be inserted and deleted from a pandas data frame very easily. Like as you go further, you will see that all pandas data frame are uh, you can say a rows and columns matrix, and the data is stored in form of columns which are also called series, and those columns can be easily be inserted, or like a 2 into 3 kind of made into say 3 into 3, and extra column can be deleted very easily from the data set. And then you have automatic and explicit data alignment, like objects can be explicitly aligned to a set of labels. This is also important when doing various analysis and operation with data table, which we will see in this tutorial and other tutorials when we go forward in this subject. And then there is intelligent label based slicing, then indexing and subsetting of large data sets. And then you have intuitive merging and joining of data sets, then hierarchical labeling of access, so it's possible to have multiple labels per tick, and then robust input output tools for loading data from flat files like CSV files and other delimited files, Excel files, etc. So this I would like to highlight is a very important characteristics or important facility which is provided by the Panda library, because it gives you interoperability between various systems. Like you have a big database in the form of a CSV file, or you have a database in form of an Excel file, which can easily be loaded into a Panda data frame, and you can work on that subsequently. So you don't have to reinvent the wheel, or you don't have to do the data data typing and all that, which is a very laborious process. And then lastly is like time series specific functionality, like date trend generation, frequency conversion, moving window statistics, date shifting, etc. This specifically becomes important when we are using pandas for doing various kind of econometric analysis, like when we are using Python for doing prediction of say time series data. Time series data can be in the form of say stock market data, in the form of weather data, and various other data. And this becomes a very important tool which pandas provide, which is one of the basic functionality of any big data or data analytics package. Now I will introduce you to the IDE, which we will like integrated develop environment, which we will use for our Python tutorials. Like there are various IDEs which are available in the market. Like you have Anaconda, then you have Jupyter, then you have PyCharm, etc., etc. But I choose Google uh, Colab, which is the short form of Google Collaboratory. Firstly, because of three reasons. First of all, it is fully based out of cloud. So all I need is just a Google email ID. I can log into that, and then I can launch the Google Colab on the fly. So I can do it in any Google compatible device, like whether it's a laptop, tab, or even a mobile, and I can do programming on the fly. Whereas as compared to other ID like Anaconda and others, there are a lot of dependencies which Google Colab doesn't have, and it as it is a cloud-based platform, so it makes things very simple, and a lot of libraries and packages are already installed, and you don't have to run pip install again and again. So now I want to highlight that once you type, you can just go into Google and type Google Colab, and then you will get this as the first page. And then first what you want to see is that you go to File, you will press the file, and then it will the next thing will open. And this is a typical Colab workspace. This is the name of the file which I've given, Untitled 0, and you can start typing from here. And like I have just written the first thing, like import pandas as PD, and after you type, if you press this button, so basically the line will run. It is very similar to Jupyter IDE, but it's running on cloud. So, like the most important thing you need to do any operation or any analysis on the pandas library is to load the pandas package. And first of all, in order to load it, you will have to import the package. And the Python community has agreed the alias for pandas as PD. And for when you are loading pandas, PD is assumed as a standard practice. And the code for loading is very simple. It's like import pandas as PD. And as I told you in the last slide, that when you work in Google Colab cloud-based platform, Pandas library is already installed, and hence you can directly import it without installing it earlier using the pip install command. Okay, now we come to the fundamental Pandas object, which is called a data frame. Now, a data frame is a two-dimensional data structure that can store data of different types in columns. So now if you just see this part, this is a data frame, and it's a two-dimensional structure. So hence it has got columns here, as you can see, and it has got rows. And it is very similar to a spreadsheet, like Excel spreadsheets, which we are all familiar with. The pandas represent data as a table with columns and rows, and each column in a data frame is a series. Like this is one column which you see, and if you just split that, you get that series. Now this is the indexing part which is there, which is common to all the columns. And data types can include like characters, integers, floating point values, categorical data, etc. and it is very similar to a spreadsheet which I told you earlier. Now, one specific example of a data frame, what we have here is that, say we have we are doing a data frame for 3 students of a class. So here this is the data frame object which you saw earlier. There are like rows and columns, and then we are having 3 columns here. Is like one column for name, one column for age, and one column for sex. And then you are saying the name is in the form of the data type is characters, and age is in the form of integers, and sex is in form of male or female data. And if I have to program it, first what will be the steps? Like first I have to import the pandas library, then I will have to create an instance of that by pandas data frame df, and then I have to populate the df with name, age, and sex column. Yeah, so now I will show you the basic construct for creating a pandas data frame. First, this is the df, and this which is the pd, which is the alias for a pandas object, and dot data frame. Then open parenthesis. This is the function construct for creating that, and then with that you can see the curly opening of the curly brackets, and then what we are doing, we are having a column one name in the quotations, and then you have a column, then you have a colon, and then you are seeing this column one entry one, and then similarly, and then you have column two name, and then you are doing column two entry one. So this is a basic construct. Now in the next slide you will see how the code looks like. This I have done in Google Colab. You see, first we have done import pandas as PD, and then you are doing df. You are creating instance of the PD object df equal to pd dot data frame, and then you are populating the data frame with 3 columns, like which I mentioned earlier, like name, age, and sex. Like name you have done like Tom, John, and Jenny, and then age you are seeing 20, 21, 22, and sex is mmf. And after that we are closing in this parenthesis. You see, basically the data frame is created, and then we are writing df, and once after that when we press this arrow button, then the program is executed, and you see the output. This is the output of this code snippet. So basically this is showing that data frame, the components of the data frame like name, age, and sex, and you can see the 0, 1, 2 are the index. So again, just another, further analyzing the thing, as I told you, see, this data frame can be split into 3 columns, or you can also call this column as 3 series. Like series 1 is like column 1, which is for the name, which is having Tom, John, and Jenny. Series 2 is for age, or the column 2, which is having the age data, and the series 3 is for the sex, which is having the sex data, and this is the index, which is like 1, 2, and 3. Now when selecting a column of a pandas data frame, the result is a pandas series. So out of this is basically there are 3 series in this one particular data frame. To select the column, you have to use the column level in between the square brackets. So when we again revise this, first of all you have to import the package, and also known as importing pandas as PD, which we saw earlier, and then a table or data is stored as pandas data frame, which is basically a two-dimensional object having rows and column, and then each column in a data frame is called a series, and you can do various things by applying a method to a data frame or series, which we will cover in our subsequent tutorial videos. A very brief section on references is given, especially this is on the main pandas.pydata.org site, which will help as a starting reference for all of you. Lastly, this was my first effort to give you some very basic introduction on the Pandas project and Pandas data frame object, and I will be covering the various other nitty-gritty and other advanced topics of the Pandas library as we go forward. Request you to support my channel Python Code Buddy by liking and subscribing in the YouTube channel. Thank you.